block party, like, it's basically our anniversary show, and we're bringing all the heat. It's hot outside, but it's going to be hotter in action.
And thank God you got fans.
We did. Listen, we have some fantastic fans.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. That helped make that happen, and I'm greatly appreciative of them.
We bring the heart to the heartland, where the souls collide. Streets expand, it's not ours to set high. We're bumping chops and running roads in the world of pro wrestling, where the weak will show. From the top row to the depths below, the warriors in the ring, we've nowhere to go. Blood, sweat, and tears, it's a battle of the wills. We bring the heart to the heartland. Heart to the heartland. Turn the volume up, they can hear from hell. Everyone's ready, so let's ring the bell. Ding, 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 let's start the clock. HCW, yeah, we're bumping chops.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to HCW's Bumping Chops, where the chops hurt and the words mean nothing. I'm your co-host, Billy Simmons, and this is my good friend, Bobby Casey, from the Chubby Buddies podcast.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us for episode 3 of Bumping Chops. And let's not forget that we are on episode 3 for, oddly, like a surprising reason. Like, we are being consistent. So, like, that right there, we need to give ourselves a pat on the back for.
Listen, we're a little, things
We're
are
good.
a little behind
We're
right
good.
now, but we're good.
Hey.
We are good.
We're staying consistent, but Bumping Chops is proudly brought to you by the Chubby Buddy Studio. Every 2 weeks, we bring out a new episode, and to get notified for that, you got to hit that like button, the subscribe button. Make sure you leave a comment as we're talking, just to let us know how we're doing, or even just to join in on the conversation. But after that, you can also head over to Spotify, what's the other one? iHeartRadio and Amazon Music to listen if you don't want to watch.
That is true. And to find more exclusive HCW content, access full shows at HCW on Patreon for $5. And that is HCW Live 23 on all social platforms.
And this week, we are going to break down HCW's last show, Justice for All.
Man, what a show.
What a show, indeed. But not only are we going to do that, we're also going to break down what exactly happened, like big key points in the show. And I think that I would say this was probably one of the biggest shows that had a lot of key points that we need to highlight.
Leading into our next show with Block Party, like, it's basically our anniversary show, and we're bringing all the heat. It's hot outside, but it's going to be hotter in action.
And thank God you got fans.
We did. Listen, we have some fantastic fans.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. That helped make that happen, and I'm greatly appreciative of them.
It does get steamy in there, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it does. Now we're going to get some help.
Thank God. But before we actually get started breaking down some of the matches that happened there, I've got a video that I kind of want to show you, and then we'll see if the other ones actually work. So if the other ones don't work, then we're not going to worry about it. But this video, I kind of want to know if this hits close to home to you, or if you think other wrestlers go through the same thing. And I showed Daniel earlier, and he thought it was kind of pretty funny.
Yeah, but he's lame.
I thought it was funny. Okay. So let's see here. Live. Okay, so just let me know if you've ever experienced this, or if you maybe think other wrestlers that you've worked with has experienced the same thing. Right?
Oh, gosh.
Wow, can't wait to tell my wife how this weekend went. Hey, babe, I won the title this weekend.
Babe, I saw that you won in front of 35 people, but now that you're home, there's dishes in the sink, the lawn needs to be mowed, and there's dog shit on the floor. Can you deal with that, champ?
Oh, man. Does that hit close to home to you, or is that like a...
Bro, that's not even nice.
Oh,
wow.
man.
She just crushed his, like, every
Soul.
dream.
But, like...
No, luckily, my wife has never done that. My wife has been one of the most supportive person in this long career that I've had. Between my family, and that's my close family, and my wife, there's not a lot of people that have supported me as much as them. So, no.
Now, would you agree that maybe like some people do sometimes forget that, like, I mean, sometimes you have to leave wrestling on the road. When you come home, you've got to take care of business.
Yeah, but the dream is why we do it. Everyone knows that, well, the old saying in wrestling is a hot dog and a handshake. That used to mean you were going to get paid very minimal, get your hand shook, and that was it. And, you know, we're trying to build and change that, but to keep professional wrestling affordable, you can't charge an arm and a leg. So you have to watch what you're doing. So, yeah, I'm sure there's wrestlers all over the place that get that same treatment of, man, great job. Now get fucking back to your work.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, I know that I do that, like, on weekends. Like, when you're having a really good weekend.
Yeah.
Like, whether or not you're actually out doing something, you got to come back and it's like, oh, shit, I got to mow now.
Facts. So facts.
But no. But why don't we get into, I mean, Justice for All, like, really quick.
Okay,
Like,
let's do that.
Let's just get into, like, what the actual show, like, what happened there, and then we can break down some of the matches. So, the show starts off, every Wichita show starts off with a VIP match. And this one, you had a debut for the VIP match, Mr. Damon Ace.
Had 2 debuts.
Well, I'm saying for this match.
Gotcha.
It was a Damon Ace versus Cole Klein. Now, was he a debut, or is he just
Right.
one of your students?
That's what I was saying.
Oh,
That's Cole's
okay.
debut
Oh,
also.
okay. Sweet.
In Wichita. You know, the cool thing about that thing is Cole, we talked about opportunities a while back. I think with Drake, right? We talked about people getting opportunities and making the best of them. Cole was not booked for our show. The individual booked.
I was actually standing there when you told him, hey, you got your gear in your car, right?
Yeah. I asked him, Cole, where's your gear? He said, in the back. And I said, perfect, get it on. You're at the VIP match. And huge credit to Damon Ace, who, very talented individual. Very, very talented individual. Came in and worked a very green kid and had a solid match with him.
But Mr. Klein did, however, only have 1 minute to prepare. Like,
Oh, yeah, he
no,
was-
there's no, like, I'm not.
He
speaking
couldn't
out of
even do
pocket.
no push-ups, try to, like, make his body look buffer or anything.
I'm back there
He was
getting
just
some
back there,
information
like,
from
going.
him. While I'm getting his information, he's putting on his boots. That's how it was going. Unfortunately, he did, however, take an L to Damon Ace. But Damon Ace is, like you said, he's a. I mean, how long has he been wrestling? Do you know, or when did you meet him?
I think he said when we talked that he was 7 years in, and very good. I once I was told that he was coming. I did a little bit of research, watched a match or two to kind of feel him out. The match I had him scheduled for would have been, in my opinion, a pretty banger. But great credit to Cole. Great credit to Damon. They went in, they did their job, and no one knew the difference.
I could tell. I mean, I didn't know that it was even Cole's debut. Like, that's. I mean, that right there goes to tell you that he's learning, obviously. So
He is learning.
But let's go into match 1. Okay. Now, let me begin by saying, okay, I firmly stand behind this. Dan has ultimately redefined what it means to be hated in Wichita. Would you agree or disagree?
Handgun Dan.
Handgun Dan.
Yeah, everybody hates him.
And
Absolutely hates him.
I feel like I can say that Dan is hated more than any other person I've ever met in Wichita. Even Dick Richards.
I
Dick Richards
100% disagree.
Dick Richards is put up with. They just don't want to hear him talk. But when Dan comes out, you feel that hatred. You hear they just don't let Dick talk. That's the difference.
Yeah, I still disagree. Dan is very, very hated. But everybody hates the Empire.
Did you hear the disrespect that Dan had? Who was that, anyways? That he was disrespecting in the crowd. The one individual he told her that he was going to be going home with her after he gets done with.
That's Jose's mother.
Oh my god. Okay, so I didn't know who that was. I just know that was not the expression that I was going to expect from anybody in the crowd.
Yeah. Listen, that is why Jose has asked if he could have a rematch with Handgun Dan. And so I think I'm going to grant that.
Well, I guess we can get into that when we get into the next two shows. But Handgun Dan came out. We felt the hatred early, and he was going up against one of Wichita's most loved head-to-head. And, I mean, as the time went on, Dan did what Dan does.
Okay.
I mean, he poured salt in the wound. And then, ultimately, I actually don't even remember his name, so I apologize, whoever that was. Who came out and stopped him?
So, Kit Reaver made his return. Kit Reaver's been doing stuff with me for a long time. And if you haven't seen Kit Reaver wrestle, you need to watch Kit Reaver wrestle. Because if he's out to stop the bullying from Handgun Dan, he might be the man to do it.
Yeah, I've never seen him wrestle. I mean, also, I've never had to announce him, so he's been out since before I got into HCW, so I don't feel so bad, but I should at least know his name. I just know that he helps you out with sound and all that stuff. So
yeah, he's wrestled forever when I was running XWE.
Oh, okay. Well, like I said, Handgun Dan took the W over Jose. Not only was he hated, but hated even more after he got his hand raised. So, like I said, Dan rubbed salt in the wound to pretty much end the match. So let's move on to match number 2. We had a fatal 4-way between Colt Kinnaman versus Gavin Bush versus Bruisador versus the beloved Johnny Faith.
That man is very beloved. Johnny Faith is beloved by everybody, I think.
And I didn't get to actually watch much of that match. Because, like, you can tell when everybody in HCW that respects, like, what's going on in a certain match, they all come out from the back to watch what's going on. And that's what happened here. So I couldn't see over the camera, so I didn't get to see much of the screen or what was going on. I just know who took the W. Can you kind of maybe run some people back into what happened?
So, Colt Kinnaman, very young, very hungry, talented young man. And for most of the match, it was basically him and Johnny Faith in there by themselves because Bruisador Valencia beat the snot out of Gavin Bush from pillar to post all the way through the freaking curtain. They might even went out the back door, came back through, and unfortunately for Bruisador, he was a little late and Johnny Faith picked up that victory.
I saw them come back through the curtain because he brought him back there, but that's all I saw.
Yeah, he threw him through my curtain. If it would have ripped my curtain, Bruisador.
And I must add, you said that you don't know what he's been doing. He's gotten pretty ripped. Like, he's cut himself up.
His head's big enough. It barely fits in his mask. Don't blow it up no more.
You said it last time, so I was just repeating.
Good
Calm
Lord.
down, Haas. Jeez. But after that, like you said, Johnny Faith took the W. The crowd was happy after that. I mean, they had their ups and their downs throughout the whole night. So I think that it was a roller coaster of a show. So we're going to match number 3, which was a rematch from River City due to Hector stealing a W from the debuting Camaro Jackson.
Correct.
And that being said, Camaro Jackson, he entered the ring like a hot rod. No pun intended. Like, that man entered with, he came in to make a statement.
Well, why not? He got punched in the mouth with a set of, brass knuckles or a chain or something. And then Dickie got his comeuppance.
Yeah, what happened with that either? Like, obviously, the camera
Well,
didn't
he
show
got
it.
caught cheating. The ref threw him out. And because he's part owner, little fucker didn't want to leave. So I have 2 very large security guys not give him the option.
Large is an understatement. These are like 2 left tackles in the NFL. That's how tall they are.
Yeah, they're 2 nice little proteges of mine.
Oh. That's the first time I've seen them, I think. Have they been at other shows?
The one has, one hasn't.
Okay. Well, I just know that he got escorted back to the back, and that's all I saw.
Yeah. That was it.
But I guess to end this whole matchup, pretty much Camaro Jackson introduced El Toro de Oro to what American Muscle is all about.
Yeah, he hit him like You know when those engines on top of Camaros got the big blocks and stuff on, they rev them things up, fire blows out the back end. Yeah. Camaro Jackson hit him off the clothesline with that thing, and I don't know. That kid almost turned inside out.
For him only making his debut last show before this, you never would have guessed it. You would think that he's been at HCW since Legacy with how the crowd reacted to Camaro Jackson.
Yeah, his crowd reaction was fantastic. And, I mean, if you show up, you look like $1 million, you wrestle like $1 million, the fans are going to treat you like $1 million.
And that they did. But another match I didn't get to see much of was match 4 it was a tag team bout between the Para Rockstars and ACFC. I didn't see it, but I could hear how the crowd was. I would say that this was number 2 for the loudest match of the night.
Okay.
Just for the crowd reaction.
You know, every time ACFC are in a match, the crowd's going nuts.
And all the wrestlers were in the back watching because when ACFC's out there, they want to see what they're doing.
And Paradox and Colton Alexander, the pair of rock stars, are no slouches either. The match was very talented, and ACFC picked up a huge victory, making them the number 1 contenders for the tag titles.
Oh, they weren't already the number 1 contenders?
No, I thought they hadn't won that yet. So they won number 1 contendership, which will allow them to go into the next show. And the next show, they'll get a title match.
Oh, okay. I thought they beat... who was it that they beat last show? For River City. I thought they won at River City to become the number 1 contender.
That was a number 1 contender match.
Oh, okay. I thought
Just
it was.
a tag match. I have all kinds of tag matches.
Oh, I thought that was the number 1 contender match. Okay. But I didn't get to see much of that, but you could definitely tell. I mean, ACFC did take the W, and the crowd lets you know what's going on. Yeah. You don't necessarily need to see what's going on. But they loved every bit of that. Now, let's talk about a little bit before what happened between match number 5, which was for the Sunflower title. Mm-hmm. Stormy Brene came out. Well, actually, you came out first.
Pause.
Okay.
Cameron Brene.
Jesus. Hey, I didn't call her something else, though. We're good.
That's true. That's true. But, yeah, I had suspended everybody. Stormy, Cameron, Calvin, and Logan. And I suspended them all because of the brawl that happened in a fantastic match that I wanted to finish. So I suspended them all. Logan and Calvin abided by my suspension, stayed away. Cameron Brene had messaged me, and she has a lot going on. And mental health is real, and she needed some time. So she asked if she could talk about what was going on and the fact that after August 24th in her last women's standings match with Stormy Renee, I almost did what you did. Right. She asked if she could address the fans and let them know that will be her last match for a while. So, of course, I'm going to let that happen. Like, I unsuspended her so she could come and tell her story. Because, honestly, people need to know that they might be home struggling, but their favorite superstar or wrestler could be struggling with the same stuff. Because that stuff is fucking real. And I thought it needed to be addressed because she wanted to, and so I allowed it to happen.
Well, she came out and she poured everything out in the ring. She let the fans know what was going on. And what do you know? You were shocked. The crowd was shocked. Let's get into that.
So, I know Dickie Richards doesn't like me. I know he wants my other half of the company. But as long as I'm breathing, he ain't getting that.
I think that's a misunderstanding. I don't think, personally, I think he secretly, admires you.
You can admire and not try to overtake.
Touche.
But understand, I fought enemies before, and I'm real good at standing tall. So, he came out unsuspended Stormy Renee, who then proceeded to get in the ring and tell Cameron that she didn't care how bad she was struggling, but that August 24th she was going to beat her ass.
Now, after what happened with that, I mean, I guess we can also agree that, like, she was on the same level of hatred with Asanga Dan at that point.
Yeah, like, she got more boos than I've heard, and I remember when that kid was getting more cheers than anyone in the locker room. But she got booed very, very bad for that. And I don't know if she'll ever be able to come back from it. And honestly, right now, I don't know if she would want to.
It's almost like she's feeding off the hatred versus the love that she was getting.
I guess so. I don't know what flipped in Stormy Renee. But she's tough as nails, and she don't care about anyone's feelings.
No, she does not. But shout out again to Cameron Burnett for what she had. I mean, it takes a lot of courage to be able to stand 100%. In front of however many people. I mean, like I said before, every time you're at a Wichita show, it feels like there are 300 plus sets of eyes on you, not just like whatever number that is, multiply that. That's what it feels like. So,
gotcha.
I mean, she broke down a little bit, but shout out to her. Like, she was able to finish it out and then ultimately be able to walk away ultimately feeling disrespected after what Stormy did.
But she walked away with her head high. You know what I mean? She knows it doesn't matter what Stormy did. She gets to get her hands on her on August 24th.
And the crowd had her back, too. So.
Of course the crowd had her back. And who wouldn't? So that, I feel bad for Stormy because I've seen them two in a match where there was no rules, and it was pretty brutal.
Well, the last one they were in was loud as shit. So, I mean, I can only imagine what a full match would sound like before it got DQ'd.
Oh, it's coming. August 24th, you do not want to miss.
I can't wait. But after all that happened, we had our Sunflower Championship title match between Noelle Summit and Heidi Howitzer with a guest referee in Mindy Grace. And from what I could tell, I think the crowd enjoyed that match just as much as all the previous matches. Like, they were, I mean, I think women are more, I guess, supported, obviously nowadays, but also at HCW just because of what they bring to the table.
They're like, I struggle because you still put them in a category.
Well, the only reason that I put them in a category is only because I think that they also need to have like the light shined on them, whether or not they're man or female. But like what they can do should not ever be outshined by a man, ever.
Right. But I guess where I come across on that is when I train these girls.
Did you train all three of them?
No, so I trained Stormy and Mindy Grace. Heidi come from Colorado, and so did Noelle.
Heidi by herself sets the standard for what it means to be just a wrestler.
Yeah, she does a great job. I've got some unfortunate news about Heidi, but we'll talk about that in a few.
Okay.
But anyway, so, I trained the girls that it doesn't matter that they were females. They worked all the guys. They trained just like we did. They help with all the setup, including all the steel and all the wood. They are right there in the, grit and grind of everything. And to me, female wrestlers are female wrestlers, and they can hang with anybody, guys and girls. Matter of fact, my main event for August 10th in Leavenworth is Stormy Renee versus Chance Kerrigan for the Independence title, and that's gonna be a banger of a match, and I'm excited.
Is that your first one-on-one male-female? Is that going to be
correct?
First? Okay,
this will be
HCW.
HCW's. Honestly, it will be probably my first actual promotion of guy versus girl. When Stormy Renee faced Drake Gallows, that was for a company called PCW. So I have never actually booked male versus female.
Is there a reason behind that, or is it just something that has never came up?
XWE, my partner was completely against it. we tried to set it up a couple times with Niles and Miranda, which right here, this wine, Niles and Miranda both have their own special wine produced at the Windy Wine Company. So check them out also. Good friends, good wine. They have whiskeys. They have all kinds of stuff.
I need to try the whiskey. That's
Oh,
not. I've never been a wine fan, but at some point I'll probably try it just to say that I tried it.
They have a strawberries and cream and a raspberry wine that I will drink tons of.
This is the Plunk Rosé, and what's this one?
That's the Miranda Berry.
Miranda Berry.
Yep.
Ooh. Is this what he walks out to?
I think so.
Okay.
Correct. And then, but yeah, great wines. Go check them out. Windy Wine Company. You won't be disappointed.
But to end the match 5, Noelle Summit fell to Heidi Howitzer for her to retain the Sunflower title. In what I would say for it being Mindy's first match she's ever reffed, I think she did a swell job.
She did do an okay job, but Noelle had a opportunity to win,
I didn't see that.
and Mindy didn't count.
Oh wow, I didn't see that.
I think it comes from the beef they've been having. But Mindy didn't count. Noelle stood up, went to hit her. Mindy hit her with a code breaker, and she turned right into Heidi's finisher for the 3.
Oh wow, yeah, I didn't see the ending. Like I said, those matches that that people were wanting to see, they come over and they take over that whole area. So there were several matches like that, but this one was no match under anything else. But like we said, Heidi Howitzer did take the. Did you want to get into what happened to Heidi, or just want to get into that later?
So we will talk about Heidi. So Heidi is set to face Mindy Grace for the Sunflower title August 24th in Wichita. Unfortunately, Heidi has suffered an injury, so she will have some implications with the belt. So she will make a statement, and her and Mindy will both be there, but they will not be wrestling.
Sorry, I'm getting this. Don't forget. But that is unfortunate. But like I said, like Heidi, I mean, I think she kind of shows the standard of what it means to be, I guess, considered a heel, but loved by everybody in Wichita.
Heidi, I tried to bring in as a heel, and Wichita said no. So Heidi 100% is a face.
It's that enthusiasm that she comes out, even if her music's messed up. Because I think that was her her debut at HCW. They didn't have the right music, so she just came out to Heidi being Heidi. Like, that's what I remember for, at least it was my first show in introducing her to the show. So I think that's also why. Did you want more of this?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So let's move on to match 6. Triple threat for the Independence title between Cody Devine, Niles Plunk, and Chance Kerrigan, your Independence champion. HCW debuting Cody Devine entered the ring, with an intention to be heard. Came out with a mic to introduce himself even before he was introduced as who was wrestling. I think, like, from what I get, I think Cody Devine and maybe Hanga Dan could possibly very well be best friends.
Maybe they're both pretty ridiculous.
But and again, there's no excuse for my actions. Again, I messed up Niles Plunke's name, and he had no problem correcting me. So
He never does. You
I
got to say his name right.
I appreciate that, and it'll never happen again.
That's what you said last time.
Hey, you know what? Like I said, that show was wild. Okay, so a lot of things were going on, and then you finally had the party animal himself, Chance Kerrigan.
I've done business with Niles for a long time. Niles is a fantastic worker. I didn't know how good Cody Devine was, but I had some good friends highly recommend him, and he did not disappoint.
No, he did not. I mean, granted, he came out disrespecting Wichita. A lot of people love to disrespect Wichita, and I don't know what it is.
Well, they think it's an easy target, but then they come in there and disrespect Wichita and then get punched in the mouth by someone that Wichita loves.
Like Chance Kerrigan.
Like Chance Kerrigan.
And you had said that you were going to continue to roll with Mr. Kerrigan. Like we said, he won the Independence, retained it, took the W, but is now facing some, I guess, Facebook beef, if you will, or social media beef.
So let's talk about that real quick. So Gideon Vane commented on just after the match promo from Chance Kerrigan. Chance come out, talked about how he's the workhorse of HCW, how he'll face 2, 3, 4, 6. He don't care. He'll face them all. And he still walks out the Independence champion. Before Chance Kerrigan got that title bounced around a little bit. Johnny Faith was the only person that held that title for more than one show. Now, Chance Kerrigan hasn't lost once in Heartland Championship Wrestling.
In a one-on-one match.
Correct. He has not been pinned. He is the champ. And Gideon Vane, because of past things that he did to a very, very young Chance Kerrigan before he even had his own name, beat him up, punked him out, made him look like nothing, has now said that he hasn't grown up enough and that title should be around his waist.
And I've only seen Gideon wrestle one time. This was, I think, probably the Halloween show. I think that's when he made his debut. I'm not sure.
Gideon is very, very good. So Gideon talks a lot.
Very, very large, too.
But Gideon can back up his comments. So Chance Kerrigan and Gideon Vane is going to happen August 24th at Block Party.
Well, way to bring in a year's worth at Wichita with Gideon Vane and Chance Kerrigan. Like, that by itself. I mean, I don't know how many people of Wichita know Gideon Vane or other than HCW fans, but from what I gather, like, he proves that he is not to be messed with when he's in the ring.
Facts.
Not just because of how large he is, but
athletic,
of what he's
strong.
capable of. Yeah.
He's 6'6", 266, I believe, is his moniker.
Biggin.
Yeah.
Big old boy.
So, Chance got a mountain to climb, and we hope he can do it.
Who started that beef? Was it Gideon? Well, like with a Facebook post, or was
Gideon
it Chance?
did make the post about Chance calling everybody out, basically, and Chance responded, and I believe Gideon responded back, and, you know, internet kind of took to it. I kind of took to it. I think we make the match.
I think it'll be exciting just because of what I've been reading on Facebook, but I just didn't know where it started. So that'll be exciting. So that's a pretty exciting match. Chance Kerrigan versus Gideon Vane for the Independence title.
For the Independence title.
Any type of stipulations, or is
No
it just
stipulations.
a one-on-one?
There's so many stipulation matches at this show. That is a one-on-one match. That's it for the title.
Well, that'll be. I guess that'll be a blessing in disguise for people that can't kind of like sit in their seats the whole time because of how exciting the previous matches will be.
Well, that match is gonna have them out of their seat too. What are you talking about?
I'm saying like with the stipulations you have, like they're gonna get like anxiety is gonna be spread
it's
throughout
gonna
that
be
room.
crazy.
But let's move on to the co-main event of the evening. One that was another rematch from River City between, I guess you can call it the Carter Takeover versus Dutch McLean. Okay, like we said before, everybody knew.
Wichita's own.
Well, Wichita's own Dutch McLean.
Okay.
Kane Carter has this. I don't even know what to call it. Is it like a tour of his own that he's got 2 titles in 2 different states, so he's trying to take a third?
He's got more than that. Carter's going on what he's calling Carter Takeover. And that's King Carter trying to take over all of independent wrestling. And he's not doing a bad job of it. Anywhere you look, you see that man is somewhere.
He's working.
He is working. I just talked to a man that travels with him and tags with him in other places that I might be interested in bringing in also.
Ooh.
So, Kane Carter, the Texas boy, and doing the Carter takeover versus, Wichita's own Dutch McClain. And Carter, like always, has some way to weasel out or do something to try to get over on Dutch. And he kind of made me have the last straw, and I set up a 20-minute Ironman for August 24th, where Dutch McClain will face Kane Carter in a Texas versus Kansas 20-minute Ironman match to find out who state is better.
And I think that's all Dutch has ever wanted, was just a fair match. I mean, now I think he's ultimately driving, after this match, after the DQ that happened for Dutch to take, he's hoping for a Carter catastrophe rather than a Carter takeover.
That's a good phrase. I like that. Good job.
So, yeah, just made it up.
Yeah.
I mean, catastrophe. I didn't even know I could spell it, probably.
I know I can't.
I can't. We need Josh. But that was the co-main event with Dutch taking the W over Carter. Now, the main event, okay, we've said this before. I believe the match that you said was going to be a possible one to take the show. I don't think we could name a match in this event or in this show. I don't think one stood out more than the other. I think you had even great matches across the board. Now, there were loud points in the show that I think stood out for more. But I think this one, the main event, stood out to me mainly because of how loud they got for Ray Leone. However much people hated him in the past when he was with Dick and all that other crap, they love Ray. And I don't know how that's ever going to change. Whether or not what he did at the previous show before that, I just don't know how that's going to change.
Ray realized his wrongs. Ray admitted his faults. And in a human being, that's what you want. Someone that can say, look, I made a mistake. I was wrong. Let's move forward. And that's something Ray has done, and Wichita has opened their arms to him and react to his every movement.
That was the loudest I've heard somebody come out. Granted, he did come out in a much different way than he's ever done before. He came out, was that his wife? I've never met his wife. Was that his wife that he came out with him and his kid?
No.
Who was that?
No, that was two young kids. That was
okay. I thought that
James
was
Thomas's daughter.
I had no idea.
And somebody else's kid.
Okay. I thought it was his wife and his kid. My bad. No. I didn't know. My bad. I don't know his family. But I do know that the Wichita crowd has made him a part of their family.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100% have.
But I think that one took the cake just because of how loud they got for Ray Leone. I mean, Aaron will be Aaron. He's going to make his own noise, I think. But I do still think that his fan just got as loud.
Listen, so everyone booed the crud out of Aaron. But the fact that Aaron still has his people that love him, even his
do you think that's because he's local?
Despicable ways, but they love him. And it could be. But I think about society. Not everybody loves the good guy.
No.
And Aaron Helms is real good about having people love the bad guy.
Well, he showed it that night for sure.
For sure.
I mean, not only did the crowd love, I would say it was 50-50 for the love, but just as many fans that got loud for Ray got just as loud for Aaron. Even though he did his own introduction, needs to lay off the mic a little bit, pull it away from him so people can hear him.
You're a little tight.
Hey, you know what? But nobody's ever told me. If I'm not told, then I can't change.
That's
so
true.
I'm telling Aaron.
Tearing Aaron too. All right, this is me telling you. Pull your mic down a little bit. Just
So,
a little bit, not a ton.
So ultimately what happened was Ray Leone came out with love and arms from the crowd of Wichita. Mm-hmm. Not so much from Aaron.
Right?
Aaron came out. He took the W, but for different things that happened throughout the match.
No, let's talk about what just happened.
Okay, go ahead.
Don't beat around the bush.
No, I didn't want. I wanted to build up to it.
You build up BS.
Light a fire on the bush.
I asked Drake Gallows to not get involved. Granted, he would never tell me that he wasn't going to.
At least he didn't break a promise.
But to hit that man with that chair and then stand over his lifeless body is uncalled for. You cost him his title shot too. So now you've both cost each other title opportunities. So August 24th, Aaron Helms will watch as Drake Gallows faces Ray Leon to find out who moves forward to face Aaron Helms.
For the number one contender for the HCW Heartland Championship, essentially.
Essentially, but I'm pretty sure Ray's already that number one contender.
Well, I just didn't know since they were both lost their matches against Aaron.
But if Drake beats Ray, technically that would make him number one contender.
So right now they're even.
Pretty much.
Okay. That right there might steal the cake on this match, just because of how much is involved.
There's a lot to it. And I tried to keep Aaron Helms away from this show because I don't want to see any more BS happen.
And he's another one of those guys you can't make promise anything.
Yeah, and Aaron said, look, I didn't do nothing to get suspended. You can't suspend me. Dickie had his back on that, and he is right. Like, I couldn't do nothing about it. So Aaron Helms will sit at the commentary table and be a special commentary for not only that match, but let's say all of Block Party.
So we're going to get some, I guess, one-on-one takes of how Aaron feels about everybody.
Yeah.
That'll be it.
That could be very interesting.
I've only heard
how does the champion feel about all other competitors in Heartland Championship Wrestling?
I mean, honestly, I think we can kind of like make a good educated guess about how he feels. But anyway, in that main event, Aaron Helms did take the W over Ray Leon with a vicious return of Drake Gallows, getting essentially payback for. I
guess Ray was. To me, it looked like an accident. He was trying to hit Helms, but he shouldn't have been sticking his nose in business that really didn't need it. And Drake was with intent and malice.
Well, that was not hidden whatsoever, and I don't think Drake intended on hiding that ever.
No, he did.
He sat right here and said he can't promise anything.
Right.
So
yeah.
Got to give the man props for that at least.
That's why I said he
did warn you.
Yeah, he said.
But it was, like I said before, it was a great show. I mean, did you get any good feedback from like people in the crowd or anything like that I maybe didn't hear or anybody else?
No, I thought everything was good. It was hot, but we've worked hard, and like I said, our crowd has come through for us. We've got some big industrial fans that are going to be at this show, so that'll help cool us off a little more, and that way the hot action can be in the ring and not on the chairs.
Well, like everybody heard already, what's to come from this show was, I mean, you've set essentially 4 matches just right here. I mean, you did it before that, but you have Ray Leon versus Drake Gallows. You've got Mindy versus, well, what could hopefully be Heidi if she's not recovered by then. Is that right?
No, we'll see what happens there, but I don't think Heidi will be able to wrestle.
Okay, but we do have Stormy versus Cameron in a last woman standing.
Correct.
And then we have Dutch with Kane Carter in a 20-minute Iron Man match.
Thanks.
And I'm not sure that we – now, you promised a rematch for – who was it? Who'd you say? Jose.
Yeah, Jose, I did say he could have a rematch, but Dan's going to have to okay that rematch. Like, he beat him. And that brings me to another thing. Like, Block Party's going to be a blast. We're going to give out lays when you come in the door for VIPs. We would like everybody, if you have a Hawaiian shirt, wear your Hawaiian shirt for us. Let's make Block Party an absolute party. Let's pack the house, because the action is going to be on fire.
Just with those matches, you've got action after action after action after action. So what's to come during that show, that's just build up to more action. So, Like you said before, it was hot in there at the last show. I could only imagine how warm it's going to be at this show, not counting the action that we're going to see in the actual ring. So,
well, the building's going to be cooler because we got fans.
That's a blessing. So, I guess now we can get into, messages to pass. Not necessarily messages to pass on. You've already done that. But let's go on to your 1-year anniversary show with the Leavenworth Local.
Yeah, for sure, man. So, it was, I think we talked about this a little last time, but it was Leavenworth who, when I stepped away from XWE, chose to go with me in our new adventure. And so they were our first place where we ran Heartland Championship Wrestling. So I have a love for that town, and we're still trying to build it. It hasn't came along as quick as Wichita, but
it is much smaller.
It is much smaller, but it is always a lot of fun. I absolutely love that place. We always have a blast. The Leavenworth Local. If you're not staying there when you can, you're missing out. That place is very nice. And we're going to go. We're going to have a fantastic time, and we're going to see some great wrestling.
And I got to stay at the Leavenworth, I think, one time, and just the amenities alone, make them stand out by themselves. They've got different things happening throughout there, not just wrestling. I mean, that's how you guys got pretty much your booking of hey, we want you guys to come back because of what you guys brought to it. So you guys brought in people that weren't even probably fans of wrestling. I think that were hey, I'm gonna start watching these guys. So,
right.
I mean, the Leavenworth Local is an old school that was turned into now a local hotel that's amazing, quality of rooms, amazing quality of like I said, amenities. So you got pickleball and all that other extra jazz that's in there. But it was a pretty cool experience. So, what do you have for Leavenworth? You said earlier that we had your first ever male versus female head-to-head match for the Independence title.
Correct. That is the main event of that card, and it's kind of set itself. I didn't have to put that together; it's put it together. We did a tag match, and Stormy and Chance, were both involved in that match. And then in the Rumble, it seemed like Stormy was going after any and everybody, including trying to take Chance Kerrigan out. And it came down to them two at the end, and Chance got the victory. But Stormy came to me and she said, I know we see differently, but in my opinion, I should get a one-on-one title match with Chance. And I agreed with her.
Well, I can't imagine of her, I don't know if she has the same fan base that she used to have in Wichita and Leavenworth. I've never seen her wrestle in Leavenworth. But just the energy she brings to Wichita, whether it be hatred or love, she's going to bring a crowd.
Yeah. And both them, you roll with Chance Kerrigan or you blow in with the Storm with Stormy Renee.
It's going to be exciting. Did you have another match for that? We had that you wanted to actually
So
talk
then we
about?
have a couple more. So we do have Donovan Era versus Tommy Too Good.
Tommy Too Good.
And I think that match will be a very fun match. Donovan's building himself up as a very mean, aggressive bad guy. And everyone knows about Tommy Too Good. He's just too good.
And then also you have, and these are all on their Facebook page. So if you want more information about this, you can follow HCW on Facebook, Instagram, and all the other social media.
At HCW Live 23.
And another match you have announced is, like we said before, the most hated band in Wichita. Hang good, Dan. Well, I guess second to you. Kyle King is who we'll be facing in that. And Kyle King is one of those other guys. I messed up his name. Hey, like I said, when I get excited, I start to mess a lot of shit up.
Kyle King is
That dude played along with it really well.
Kyle King is a very unique individual. Him versus Handgun Dan is either going to be very, very good, or it's going to be a match I go, man, that didn't hit as well as I thought it would.
Well, me messing him up, I just adore how he was able to play into it. I called him Kyle Long, and the man looked down his shorts and said, "No, I'm not." And then he comes out. So that right there, like he's got my W. Like I'm behind him. I mean, not just because of the negativity that Hank and Dan brings, but he's definitely going to bring a lot of hatred to Leavenworth.
That's true. That's true.
Another match. We already talked about that one. Fatal 4-Way. And you're not sure how everything's going to pan out with some of the people that are in it already. Did you want me to announce those?
Yeah, we can announce those because we know that Simon Balasong, Kargar, and Aaron Helms are good to go. Last I heard, Dutch was trying to heal up a little bit. It's professional wrestling. We get banged up and beat up, and if I know Dutch, if he's okay to go, he'll be there. But he's also trying to prepare for a very huge match with Kane Carter. So how much can his body take?
We will find out for sure at the block party, but hopefully we don't have to find out too early at Summer Showdown 2, right? That's the name of it? Summer Showdown?
Yeah, Summer Showdown 2.
Okay. So we also haven't seen Kargar in a while. Like, this is his first match since he lost to the tag team in the tag team title match at Wichita.
Yeah, so Kargar, Kargar's been gone a little bit, but I think you'll start seeing him a little more in Leavenworth. He trying to, you got to start from the bottom and build up, and Kargar's done nothing his whole career but fight from the bottom, so that kid's a good kid.
I got to give him props because I did your guys' pop-up show in Wichita. Like, that dude, like, there wasn't very many people there. I think there was like 12 people in the crowd. That dude acted like there was 112 people in the crowd.
Yeah, you got to every time you go out there.
Pretty impressive for how, like, I've heard how green he is. I mean, I don't know how long he's been wrestling, but
not
I
very
know
long.
that
He's young.
I just know that he's a young guy, but he's also he brings a sort of enthusiasm that everybody loves.
Yeah.
So I got to give him props to that. Another match that you have announced is Kenny Kingston, the Iron Pit Bull Kenny Kingston versus Ray Leone.
Yeah, Kenny Kingston, last show he kind of dropped down and just walked away from Big Country Max Stockdale. And crowd booed him, and Ray confronted him in the back, asked him what that was about, like that wasn't a cool move. And Kenny just blew him off and pushed him out of the way. Well, Ray don't take disrespect from anybody. It doesn't matter how big they are. So Ray said, "Billy, I want him." So I obliged.
I don't know if I've seen Kenny wrestle. The
Kenny
last
Kingston
Leavenworth show I didn't
is
go
a
to.
massive individual. He is very strong and very powerful.
Bigger than Matt Stockdale?
Just barely shorter, but almost same size. Like, they are big individuals.
That's a lot of.
What Kenny better hope is that Matt isn't better and shows up at Leavenworth even though he's not booked.
I didn't even think about that, but I have met Matt, and he's not a small guy at all.
No, not at all.
But that's all that you have listed for that show. Is that all the matches, or are there more to come?
No. One of the biggest matches that hasn't been released yet is a last man standing match between Paradox and Kit Reaver.
Ooh, and this is his first match.
And this will be Kit Reaver wrestled Paradox in Leavenworth, last Leavenworth show. And Paradox hit him with a bat.
A bat.
Of course.
A bat.
So now they will face each other in a last man standing match, and we'll see who hits who with a bat.
Sounds like he needs to come out with more than just a bat, because that's getting a little boring, if you ask me.
Well, he's doing damage with it.
He is, but the damage isn't worth it because he keeps getting L's.
I mean, let me ask you a question. Did you watch Walking Dead?
I was not I can't get into like certain things like that.
I knew
so
I
no.
didn't like you.
Yeah, that's all right. I got too much things going on.
But you watch Seinfeld.
I watched Seinfeld over like 36 years of life. Not like a season.
Anyways, Negan didn't need nothing but a bat. And all the
now, from what I gather, I've seen pictures.
Fans,
he had barbed wire on his bat, right?
He had nails going through it.
Oh, okay.
But all he needed was a bat. Sting, all he needed was a bat.
Well, we talked to Drake, and he said he didn't believe that people should try to mock other wrestlers, so I'm going to go behind him. I don't know. Anyway, the bat is the bat. And did you have another match? Or is that the last one?
That's the
last man standing.
Yeah,
so
last man
what does
standing.
that entail? Because I'm not.
So what a
familiar with that
last
one.
man standing match means is anything goes, and the way to win that match is you have to put your opponent down for a count of 10, while you are able to stand up. So the last person to be able to stand up before a count of 10.
All right, but that's the Leavenworth Local. The times are different. There's no VIP match.
So we don't do a VIP match there. We do premium tickets will be the table seating or front row seating. And those are $15. They do not come with gifts and food vouchers. It's just a table seating. And then $12 for your general admission. Doors open at 5:30 for everybody.
And another perk, they sell alcohol at this show. So if you're an adult over the age of 21, you can buy beer.
Correct. So Leavenworth Local does run their own bar, so you can buy beer and take shots before you come in. Just don't get crazy. Security doesn't want to have to do stuff. I love wrestling. Just love wrestling.
Don't have you bring your big guys out to escort you out like they did Dick.
No, they will be with me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They don't want you to bring those guys to
No,
escort you
no,
out.
those guys like to have fun. They don't like to have to do the crazy stuff. But when I need them to do the crazy stuff, they will.
Oh, and the shout out, Leadfoot Express is the one that's providing the fans. to the
Leadfoot
next,
Express
next
is
show.
the company that provided that the fans.
The shop fans, yeah. And now let's move on to, and we said block party, that's going to be August 24th. We went over the details about that. Bring your Hawaiian shirt. The times are as normal. Doors open at 5. Bell rings at 6. Get your VIP tickets. Kids 12 and under get in for free.
Correct.
Tickets start at $12. Now I guess
Militaries are 10.
military is 10. Okay, so we've never said that. So military gets in with a discount of $2 off.
Yeah, any military, you show your military
Is that
ID
first
is
response
$10
or is that
tickets.
all military?
I think we just have it set as military, but I think first responders I'm okay with also.
Okay, so, and I knew that you guys used to do that. I just didn't know when that was going to start back up. So I guess we've never really highlighted it. So, but that's that for. Is there anything else that you kind of want to highlight that what's been going on the past 2 weeks that we maybe didn't get into, whether it be maybe something that's happened behind scenes or anything like that?
Yeah, so we got a lot of big things coming up. We just signed on to join with Skill in another opportunity on August 30. So the last Saturday in August, I think it's the 31st. To join up with Skill and do a event with La Raza radio channel. So they're having some bands in, and they're bringing Heartland Championship Wrestling and Skill, which is Southwest Independent Lucha Libre, in for some combined lucha and American style wrestling. And we're excited to have fun with that one too.
And that's what date again was that?
It's August 31st.
Oh, okay. I'll see what I'm doing that weekend. So I know that I'm busy with other stuff too, so I'll just double check my calendar, see if I can even make it. Outside of that, I think you're done with all the matches, all the beef that's been going on, all the excitement. What do you say we get into, I guess some personal or opinion questions? How's that?
Okay.
Like, you ready to... Is there anything from wrestling that's been going on? I actually didn't look that up. Like, I didn't see anything outside of, like, SummerSlam's getting ready to happen.
SummerSlam is happening this weekend, and it's going to be fantastic. And I now know who you were talking about on the last episode.
Oh. You now know.
Yeah.
How impressed are you?
I'm pretty impressed. I see a lot of what they were trying to do with Elias, with him. And I thought the Elias gimmick was very cool. They just didn't ever elaborate with it. But I think it's fantastic. It's good. It's good storytelling. It's good TV. Shawn Michaels, of course, is controlling NXT down there, and He was a fantastic worker, which means to me, like, it's inevitable.
I truly thought you were going to deny Joe Hendry. That's what I thought you were doing. I was like, what?
No.
And that was like, I thought you were like just shitting with me. Like, I was like, this dude knows who Joe Hendry is.
No, really. So what you have to understand about it is, as much as I try to keep up with everything going on, my life is a whirlwind.
I don't doubt that one bit. I just thought, like, that's what I thought. And so I brought it up to Josh. But, like, Josh and I actually kind of agreed, like, we could see Joe Hendry kind of like be that one guy. And I don't know if this has ever happened before. Maybe Josh doesn't either. But, like, he's that one guy that's going to be that independent guy that's going to travel around to several organizations. Just with how he's able to get the crowd popped with just his music. Like, they love that song.
Yeah, but
I can't speak for his wrestling.
Is not going to let him go anytime soon.
Oh, is he just signed with NXT, or is he like?
Well,
I thought he did other stuff.
He's TNA is where he started with, but he's with NXT now, and they're not going to let him go nowhere.
If you get a chance, just look up how he actually got started in wrestling. It's pretty amusing.
Yeah,
it's just by accident that he actually got. And I'll butcher like what actually happened, but hearing him say it was like pretty impressive. He's like, it was an accident. He goes, I stepped up when I thought I should, and it went over from there.
Nice.
Anything else other than SummerSlam? Like the big thing is Cody Rhodes.
So you got Cody and Solo. And you have CM Punk's first match back versus Drew McIntyre with Seth Rollins as special referee. You have Liv Morgan with a return versus a returning mommy. Forget what her name is. Dang it, Rhea Ripley. So, like, Dave, like always, it's going to be a fantastic card, in my opinion. And I'm excited for it. I wrestle Saturday, so I'm not going to get to watch it live. But I go down to my buddy Flex Reed's company, WWX, and wrestle for him on Saturday. But I'm going to watch that probably Sunday.
And, like, my feed is just blown up with like stuff that's been like going on Monday Night Raw usually. So like it's usually, and I don't even know and this is how much I'm into it. I don't know who it is, but I know that the Wyatt Six is like, I mean, they've pretty much stolen like pretty much my whole YouTube channel. Like every third video or so, I see nothing but them coming out and like disrupting like what's going on. So
yeah, so they're Chad Gable and his bullying ways.
The video that they promoted, like, I want to say this was 3 weeks ago, like, something's going on differently completely with that whole side of wrestling. Like, it's turning into a pretty much a, like, Hollywood director's cut. Like, the way that he is able to, I don't know if you watched it, but, like, the whole back and forth of him talking to himself was wild. Like, that
you see Eminem just did that, too?
I did not see that.
What?
I don't get music. Like, ever since I started doing, like, stuff like this, like, I don't get music feeds. So the only thing I get music-wise is through Spotify. That's it. So I don't see very many music videos.
We all know, if you don't, you need to. The Eminem dropped his new album.
Oh, yeah. I knew that, and Josh told me about that.
And it's fantastic, like always. But he... yeah, he does a Guilty Conscience too, but it's Marshall Mathers versus Slim Shady, or Eminem versus Slim Shady.
So did he actually say he was playing homage to what they did in that in his film, or like was that just something that he already had planned? Do you think?
Yeah, I don't know.
All I know is that what he did, like that right there, like it was very spine chilling, like just to watch that happen. Like we said before, like with Cameron Burnett about mental health, like that's really what it's showing. I think is like just the separation between mental health and being okay.
Well, yes, and that's something that his brother, like, like the Wyatt Six stems from everything that Bray had done, and now that Bo Dallas has taken over and WWE's giving him that platform, he's continuing the legacy. And yeah, it is like a live action horror show. It's pretty cool.
I thought it was impressive. Like,
I like it.
But like ever since like they've started to come out, like it's every other third video on my feed. So it's like
Doesn't surprise me.
It's hard to really like just like look at just one thing, but that one stands out the most just because it's in my algorithm or whatever they want to call it. So I guess, do you want to get into a personal question, or would you rather get into like, I guess, an opinion debate question where people can kind of like either agree or disagree with you? What do you feel like?
I don't care either way. Shoot.
Let's go with a personal one, since, I mean, this is your show. So let's
Okay.
not forget that. This is the Billy Simmons show.
That's right.
It's just called Bumping Chops.
Bumping chops.
So I guess this is really going to like play into like what's been going on with HCW as a whole, and also what's been going on in the past show to lead up into our next two shows. So I guess as a promoter personally, or as like an organization, HCW being what do you do that stands out the most that's unique, do you think? Like, what would I guess somebody actually have something to say about that?
So, to me, it's the quality. So, if you go to most independent companies, you don't get the ring entrance, the curtains, the aprons that are custom, the different stuff that we try to bring to professional wrestling on an independent level. We try to do the best of our capabilities. And then not only that, but I think that our company is built around those people that pay dollars for them tickets. And it doesn't matter whether they bought the $10 ticket or the $12 ticket or the $35 ticket. Every single person that walks through that door is important to me. And I try to make them feel that way. It's why I walk out before every show and tell them how grateful I am. I try to talk to our VIPs before every show. I try to shake every VIP's hands before we even get kicked off for the VIP match. And that is just my gratitude to them to continue to let us do what I love so much, and that's put on professional wrestling.
And I think why that's such a good question is because I can't compare you to another organization outside of what I've seen on the internet, or because I've only been to like maybe two other shows outside of HCW. So, right. I mean, from what I see, like from what I first got from HCW, when you first asked me, like my first thought was that I'm going to go talk in front of maybe 20 people. Okay, that was and I'm being real with you right now.
Okay.
When I first got there, I saw that place was so full, and I was like, what in the hell did he get me into? Like, I had no idea. Like, my first thought was that, yeah, I'm just going to go talk to about 20 people. I might not need a mic, but then, I mean, I had a mic, of course, and then I saw the room, like, standing room only. That first opening night on Wichita,
completely
standing room only.
packed.
So I was already sweating bullets. Like, my beard was sweating. That's how hot it was in there. Like, and it wasn't just from, like, the temperature, because it was in August that you had that first show, but it was also, like, the only time I've ever talked in front of a crowd that large was when Josh and I gave our sermon at church. So, like, that was my senior year of high school. So I had nothing to really, like, go off of. But I will say this, is that, like, that right there kind of set the standard. Okay, so this is how that stuff's going to be. Like, it's not like that 15-man show that you see outside, like some people posting on YouTube coming out. Yeah, like, I think their enthusiasm is the same because it has to be. Because if it wasn't, like, why are you doing it? But that's the first thing that I thought of when I saw HCW's first show. It's like, whoa. Like, but not only did that, but I think your name also travels a long way because of what you've been able to accomplish.
Respect is huge, especially in wrestling. In life in general, respect is up there. You know what I mean? And my name carries because I demand respect with it. You know, I train my kids like I was trained the old school way, that you respect the business, you respect the people, and even when you deal with shitty people, you still got to respect the business. And so it doesn't matter if there's 2, or 2,000. They're all going to go out there and perform to the best of their abilities, because who knows what happens? Who sees that video and they busted their ass in front of 2 people? And now a promoter goes, if they're going to work like that in front of 2 people, how are they going to work in front of 2,000? And so my kids continue my traditions and my respect, and then that builds my name. And I make sure that everybody that I tell I'm going to pay a certain price gets that price. I make sure that I am open and honest with them about anything. And if they have ideas, I listen. Because I can't run this by myself. I can put it together to where I think it is, but it takes them wanting to put in the extra effort to tell the stories that we want to tell. And I have that, and that sets us apart. So it's respect. It's a big one.
Well, I mean, I think that that's going to open up more, like, I guess, open more doors for that person also, especially when they can do that. Like, not just with people like you, but also people that have no idea about wrestling. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, they're trying to, like you said before, let me find out about what about wrestling I can make you a fan of. Yeah. Whether it be a specific type of match or a specific type of wrestler, like, there's something about wrestling that I should try to bring you into.
So a lot of people, older generation of professional wrestling fans, say, well, back in my day, it was real. I hate the word fake. But when WWE came out and said, hey, this is entertainment, it then had to transition to the fact that everybody now knows this is entertainment. So why would we not go out and entertain to the best of our ability? Right? And so if you can entertain too, then you're going to be able to entertain those others, and that makes people want to book you.
But I also think that when you do both of those things, I think that that's what's going to be able to make you out to be a better wrestler in the long run. Whether or not you're a specific, whether you're face or heel or whatever it is, like, that's what's going to ultimately determine, like, what you're going to be able to be capable of doing down the road, especially in front of a big crowd.
You want to know who the biggest baby faces are?
Like, of all time?
No,
or
just the biggest baby faces.
They used to be heels, probably.
So the biggest baby faces are the person that has a fantastic heel to get them over.
Well, I guess leading into that, let's get into an opinion debate.
Okay.
So, like, if you really think about it, like, I guess you personally could probably narrow down, like, what, I guess, ultimate traits a person needs to become a good heel, or a good, like, a perfect, not even perfect, just a decent person to take on the role of being a heel. Would you agree that you could do that?
It depends, because some people will shock you. Some people that you don't think can handle that villainous role, knock it out of the park. And then some people that you think would kill it aren't very good at it.
Okay.
So it's hard to figure out that thing, and it's most people nowadays, most wrestlers that walk into the business nowadays, to my training facility at the Bears Den, most of them come in and the first thing they say to me is, I want to be a heel. You have to learn to be a babyface before you can be a heel.
Why do you think that is? Like, I mean, I don't know if that's, like, necessarily, like, what the whole game is built to be. But
it's an
like
old school tradition. If you can't learn to feed and sell for your heel, how are you going to be good enough as a heel to get that babyface to feed and sell for you? Back in the older days, you knew who had more time in the ring is because they were the heel. So it's still that way to a bit. Most kids coming out of my class, I tell them they're going to be a babyface. Because first, the minute they debut, everybody in their family is going to want to watch them wrestle. They're going to come in and they're going to cheer for them. And they need to learn how to wrestle.
Okay, so with that on the mind, so like when you think of wrestling of all time, can you name the top 5 heels of all time, and can you kind of name what makes them stand out above all the rest?
So the top 5 or top anything of all time is always a debatable question. There's always, you left this person off, you left this person off, you left this person
Okay,
off.
how about I elaborate a
Okay.
little bit more for you with that? Think of about it like this way. Take the heel role. How did that person impact it in a good way? The best. The 5 people that come to mind. What made that person define what it means to be a heel?
Ric Flair, Harley Race, Arn Anderson, Triple H, probably Roman Reigns.
And that's like the ones that like define. Is that? Did you go like by like pretty much era almost just now? Like without mentally doing it, like without looking at like a time frame.
I mean, maybe.
That's impressive that you could go down that like and name out of every era almost.
Well, you figure, to me, Ric Flair is the greatest heel of all time. Okay? My favorite Triple H was a heel Triple H. DX was cool, but Triple H was the best when he was a bad guy. I left off my favorite wrestler just because you said who impacted the heel persona. But Big Van Vader is my favorite wrestler. And he was best as a heel, being the dominant, beat you up, no give a fuck. But Roman Reigns went from being driven down your throat as a babyface to one of the top heels for years. And so he needed to be on there. Of course, Triple H, one of the best. Who else they? Arn Anderson. Arn Anderson with the 4 Horsemen, to me, is the most underrated wrestler ever. Wow. I absolutely think Arn Anderson could have been that much more. And he was great. 4 Horsemen and 4 Stars.
What do you think stopped him from being like where you think he should be?
It wasn't anything that stopped him, because he's still one of the greatest ever, but in the tag division and stuff like that. Arn Anderson, with the Horsemen, slowed his individual one-on-one career down, so most people don't put him into those categories. But to me, to this day, is one person I still haven't ever met, and I would love to meet and just shake his hand, because I think he's one of the greatest heels ever.
So really what you pretty much told us is like, I mean, you gave us the rundown of what it means to be a good heel. Like you gave us the criteria, like you have to be a good babyface first.
Yeah, 100%.
And then would you say, I mean, I would kind of add in also like they're able to bring in the element of surprise.
Yeah, so a uniqueness, a viciousness. Like to be a good heel, like you have to
Enforcer probably.
be mean. You have to be aggressive. You have to, Ric Flair would talk the talk, and then he'd walk the walk.
I think that's probably why a lot of people don't count him as that, because he didn't have the type of noise after he would talk on a mic. Like he had great mic game, but he didn't have that feedback. Like, like stand-up comedians base their stuff on like their response back from the laughs. The Rock, like his mic game, like he got a ton of like the crowds were huge when he was in the game. But like Ric Flair, like when you see like old recordings of him, you didn't hear that feedback. Like I think that might be like why people might
about the
not think of
sound
it.
quality from then to now, Bobby.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like you don't hear that, and that's probably why people are kind of like people like my age, people that didn't see him wrestle, like they're probably like, man, this guy like didn't get the crowd like riled up enough. Like they're just not hearing it. That's what I'm thinking.
Hey, they just don't watch enough film.
But that's what I'm saying. Like that's why people that don't see, like I've always known Ric Flair to be a heel. Like he's got great mic game, but like in like films that you see on like YouTube, the quality that they put on there, you're not hearing what the crowd is like, I guess, producing afterwards, like when he's talking. Like his most infamous, like, mic.
But why is talking put you in there where he has to be the greatest because he can't talk?
No, that's not what I'm saying. Like they're not he's not getting the feedback from like crowd work like that. Like that's what they're assuming. I think maybe. Do you think?
You're going off a promo where they got him in a little corner away from stuff compared to his ring work. There's no
right, and that's what
difference.
I'm saying. And that's
Rock
what I'm
was
saying.
standing in the middle of the ring, getting everybody to follow him, where Ric Flair was over on a corner.
And that's what I'm saying. Like old videos, like when you see that, like versus now, or when The Rock was in, like they still put in that crowd noise. Like when he's on camera talking, whether he's in the ring or not, like you still hear that crowd because they added it to it, not when Ric Flair was doing it.
I don't even know if they added it, but like
It was
I
just-
said,
it was just on there.
It's just the fact of where the placement was, the quality of the feedbacks from everything. Like wrestling from the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s is how much different than today's age. Even in the 90s when things were hot, per se, or early 2000s, not 90s, when things were hot, the crowds and everything, like the quality was better. Yeah. So
And that's what I'm
it's
saying.
hard
Like
to
they just
compare
can't
like
tell.
the reaction of a promo from one person in a generation that has all the bells and whistles compared to a promo from somebody who just had a little handheld.
And that's what I'm
fucking
saying.
mic.
Like we don't see everything, and that's what I'm saying. Like you can't count everybody out because you don't know what was actually going on back then, unless you were there,
Right.
Almost. Because like nowadays, like you hear everything. Like the sound
Oh,
quality
yeah.
is on par. You hear the crowd. You could probably hear one person like make a specific noise that like makes that video just that much better.
Right.
And that's what I was saying. Like Ric Flair, like people that aren't counting him as to be a great heel, they're not the ones accounting for. Like we're not hearing everything.
There's
that's
many
also
people
going
that are
on.
watching wrestling that don't consider Ric Flair up there on the top. They're not watching the right professional wrestling.
And I'm not denying that. But what I'm saying
And I love
is,
wrestling. Like, I love all forms of wrestling. But, yeah, Ric Flair's just, he's good.
So I guess at
Next
this
up,
point, we
next
can
up.
ask everybody that's listening, like, leave your top 5 heels of all time.
Yeah, that'd be good.
See if they match yours, or see if they even disagree completely with you.
Yeah, and I don't mind. I like seeing people's opinions.
Like, I think we might see some people put Undertaker on there, probably.
As a heel?
Well, I mean, he was an enforcer.
I
like, do
mean,
you not count
the
him as a babyface?
ministry.
Yeah, repeat them one more time so the people can go off yours. You had Ric Flair was number 1. The dude from the Four Horsemen.
Arn Anderson.
Arn Anderson. And then you had Roman Reigns. And then you had
Triple H.
Triple H. And then I don't know what the 5th one was. You wanted to put your favorite wrestler because you believed that he was a great heel.
I think it'll be Vader. Like,
Okay, so Vader's...
I'm trying to think if I missed any.
I wonder if you only said 4 and then you talked about
Maybe.
Vader. Okay. But I know you at least said the 3 that I said.
I like Vader because of his viciousness.
And that was
It-
that was what you were brought...
It was one
into
of his
wrestling.
downfalls, too, is because Vader would just beat you up. Sting said that every time he wrestled Vader, it was like wrestling a cement truck. So,
So I guess at this point, just leave your comments about what you think would be your top 5. See if they match. I mean, I bet you got a ton of people that will probably like agree with you about at least 4 of those for sure.
we'll see. I would like to see some things and
Get as controversial as you can, just to piss him off. You're an idiot.
he's going to read it.
We're all going to read it live on here. And also at this time, this is your last chance before our next episode to leave your what you think our outro should be.
The outro. We need an outro, guys. Have we had any more
Yeah,
submissions?
we've had 12 total. And so we'll
now
read
we're getting
those
there.
on the next episode before the next show for your chance to win 2 VIP tickets to Block Party.
That's right.
So leave your outro ideas, and then also leave your top 5 heels of all time, and also maybe add into like what you think. If you're listening to this, you're an HCW fan. What do you think HCW? How does HCW stand out above other independent wrestling organizations?
Or what can I do to get better?
And he always wants that. That doesn't even need to be a comment to be stamped to. So, but this was episode 3.
Man, do you ever think we'd get 3 episodes in, Bobby?
Hey, I'll be honest with you. Like, when we first said, "Hey, you're going to sit down," I figured so much stuff was going to change, which I'm not problem to change, just as long as we can work it out.
Right.
So I would say after episode 2 finishes, like, okay, this is going to be a pretty consistent thing. As long as you can keep your schedule organized and then we work everything out time-wise, I think that's fine.
My
So,
biggest is people being patient. Like if people will be patient with me, then I will get to it. If I tell you, hey, I would love to do this, I just got to find a time to do it. As long as you stay on me, I'm gonna get it done.
That's another thing. I always try to send reminders. Like I always have sent it the day before, be like, "Hey, you still good for tomorrow?"
Yep.
In case you have to move it to Friday, or in case you have to move it to Wednesday at night. So like
for sure.
That way, I mean,
That
that
would
way I
interfere
can be
with training,
flexible.
so I probably wouldn't do that.
Well, as long as I can be flexible, then I'll be flexible. So that's all that's good. So but that's episode 3. While you're sitting here listening, make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button. Leave a comment about everything that we've talked about. Let us know your thoughts about what happened at HCW's Justice for All. And go follow them on Patreon for just $5 a month. I mean, I know the word just is spread around just too much.
Look, so wherever you're at, you can follow us on Patreon for $5 and help the cause. We're building, we're growing. Like, follow, share. If you want to join us on Facebook, we're always there. And then Patreon's $5. YouTube gets loaded 3 months after the show. It will go to YouTube, and we're trying to do the best we can to keep Patreon going.
And before we move, is there going to be like any 50-50 raffles at these next shows that they need to be heads up to?
So actually for the next few shows, we're going to have a couple special things going on. So unfortunately, I have one of my employees at my shoot job, which means regular job for those that don't know, had breast cancer. So she just had surgery today. Everything went well. But now she's in recovery, and that surgery is very expensive. It was something that needed to be done to stop the spread. So for the next few shows, we are going to do a 50-50 raffle where 50% will go back to whoever wins it, and then the other 50% will go to Miss Jan Carter to help her with all the expenses that she's dealing with that no one should have to.
Well, that's cool. So, because I don't think a lot of people ever know about it until they get there about the 50-50 raffle. So, for at least the next few shows, you're going to be doing that.
For sure.
So, that'll be exciting. But I think that's a wrap. Until we get an outro,
wrap.
I think we should just say, ta-ta now, bye-bye then.
What if our outro is me chopping you?
How about not?
Damn.
I got shit to do after this.
Later, guys.
Later.
We bring the heart to the heartland, where the souls collide. Dreams expand, it's not opposite. Rip up in shots.